Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So I realized that there's a little bit more information on Street Fighter than we already realized through this website right here. I recorded this video already before, but unfortunately I was a little too stupid and I didn't turn on my microphone whilst I was recording. So here I am. All right, so we're gonna comb through the new things that we have to get through. We're going to start with the fighting ground. It's essentially talking about the different modes that are available. Since I've been through this already, I'm just going to brush through them and try to explain to the best of my ability that which I can. So mode, the fighting grounds, right? So continuing the tradition of being a genre leader, the pinnacle of fighting games can be found in this mode. With a highly new evolved combat system, experience a stunning innovation for yourself. All of the modes found in Street Fighter V can now be found in Fighting Ground. So there is these new mechanics that we're working with called the drive system. They're going to also explain a little bit more of the controls, and they're also going to talk about the real-time commentary. Let's talk a little bit about the drive system. So it says here, battle system design. Simpler controls will let you improve your offense and defense. With good timing, you can unleash attacks with flashy visuals, allowing you to experience the thrill of the fight even more. So we're just gonna check the UI. I already made a few comments on this. I talked about the fact that the UI looks actually amazing, absolutely amazing. There's your health, obviously, your rounds, and the round winners being the letter representative. Your portraits, your character's portraits, and this is going to be the drive gauge, right? Yeah, so this is the drive gauge. Drive gauge gives you the ability to perform various actions in Street Fighter 6. When the gauge is empty, your fighter will enter a burnout state and will not be able to use drive-related techniques until the gauge is replenished. Now, what does this mean? It means when you're fighting, you actually start rounds off with your drive gauge fully, Now, what does this mean? This means you start rounds with your drive gauge full, and you are literally free to do whatever the heck you want with your drive gauge until the end of the match. If at any point in time you actually utilize all of your drive gauge, what happens is that it will start to replenish over time. Now, as to whether this begins to replenish when you deplete the drive gauge at least once, or if it only starts replenishing after you've already utilized it, that is up for debate. We have to wait to see, right? We can see that over here we can see that reused drive gauge is filling up, but we have no way of knowing if he had used it before and it was now filling up, or if he just used these two to perform an EX attack and it's now filling up. So moving on, the other important thing that I saw here, that was the number 6, the UI element on the bottom here. These two UI elements, those are the super gauge. Spend this gauge to perform a devastating super art. Every attack that lands will fill up the super art gauge, and you can fill it up to 3 stocks. Super art gauge also carries over between rounds, so this is going to be carried over between rounds, but your drive gauge is always going to be full at the start of each round. Moving on though. They give more explanation on the drive gauge over here. The engine that powers the drive system is available as soon as the round begins, allowing you to fight to your liking. If you spend your entire drive gauge, you enter a burnout state with big disadvantages. But it also replenishes automatically, making meter management a key to the fight. Understanding the system in depth, including when to be conservative and when to gamble, allows for deep, high-level battles. I honestly do like what they're doing here, because what they're doing is they're essentially allowing you to do literally whatever you want as far as the fight is concerned. If you want to blow all your high-level tech at the start of the round, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to do that at the end of the round, you can do that as well. And if we come down here, we're gonna get more in-depth, a more in-depth view on exactly what the actions of the drives are. So this is where what I talked about in my previous video comes into play, where I talked about the different auras that we were seeing. We're seeing some yellow, we're seeing some green, we had some paint effects, and we saw the unique blocking. All of that actually gets explained here. So we're gonna try, we're gonna take a look at drive impact first. So drive impact, this costs one drive gauge bar, and it is a powerful strike that can absorb an opponent's incoming attack. Form this on an opponent backed into the corner to induce a wall splat even if they block the attack. So pretty much after this attack, you can full on, well, at least to my knowledge, do whatever you want. We've mostly seen specials coming right after this hits, rather than combos or fully confirmed combos. So I think either it's because maybe it's for just eye candy, or it may be the best option to use whenever you actually use a drive impact. We also saw in the trailers that if you actually use a drive impact first and your opponent reads you and retaliates with a drive impact as well, what happens is your drive impact gets absorbed and you're the one who gets punished. So pretty much one way of countering drive impact is to use a drive impact after your opponent uses it, if you're able to react fast enough, I think. Now you have the drive parry. This is something that can actually be held rather than something that is, you only do a parry once and then you just end it. It looks like it's something that can generally be held. Automatically repel an opponent's attack and replenish drive when performed successfully. Perform a perfect parry by parrying just before an opponent's attack hits you. In the video that we will look at later, you'll see how tiny this window is. Or maybe in that video, the person was just too perfect. It shows like you have to be pinpoint perfect in order to hit the perfect parry. But we've seen that after the parry, you can pretty much do anything. If the person's unsafe after the parry, you can go ahead and hit them with a full combo, be it a perfect or a normal parry. So that's good because, I mean, actually not 2 stocks. It takes half a drive bar, or half a stock of the drive gauge, from what I'm looking at here. Okay. All right. Moving on, we have the overdrive. This is very, very easy to explain. This is basically everyone's EX move. This is just it. It takes 2 drive gauge to do an EX move, and that's pretty much it. Super simple. Moving on, and to do it you have to hold the R1 button, press 2 of the same button type instead of 1 to perform a special move. Yeah, it's basically your EX move. I don't think there's much explanation that needs to go into that, but yeah, for people who are new to Street Fighter, pretty much, yeah, press 2 of the same button type instead of 1 when performing a special move to turn it into an overdrive art. These are the same attacks as EX special moves in past games. Alright, now we have the drive rush. Drive rush is, to me, basically focus attack. Focus attack dash cancels. That's what they are to me. They cost either 1 or 3 drive gauge costs, depending on... they cost either 1 or 3 drive gauge bars or drive gauge stocks, depending on what you do before the dash. So over here it says, perform a quick rush forward from a drive parry or a cancelable normal attack. Drive rush from a parry costs 1 drive stock, while drive rush from a normal attack costs 3 drive stocks. So there you have it. At any point in time, you can just dash. Can be either to whiff, can be either to whiff punish, or just close some distance if somebody's unsafe, but you know, you're slightly too far away from them. Actually, I don't think that would be a necessarily big use case scenario. But yeah, you can do it from canceling. You can do it from canceling pretty much canceling a normal attack or canceling a parry. So, moving on from drive rush, we have the drive reversal. This is also like a V reversal. Drive gauge costs 2 stocks. Perform a counter attack while blocking your opponent's attack. The damage is low but can help you out of tight situations when you're being pressured. So you have a plethora of options to choose from. If you want to play more defensively or want to play more offensively, you know, it's perfectly fine. As long as you have the gauge, as long as you have a drive gauge, you're pretty much a scary person on the battlefield. Anyone is a scary character with drive gauge, it seems. But as to how quickly it fills up, you know, that's really gonna determine, like, you know, how exactly this thing is utilized, how this thing is used. As we can see, there's 5 stocks of drive gauge. So that in itself it makes me think that the recovery will be slow, but I kind of hope not, because if it's not, then, well, we actually get a lot of, you know, we'd actually see a lot of fights going back and forth because of how chaotic things might seem to get, but I think it'll be fairly balanced. I don't think it's going to be something that's too chaotic. Now, something that I looked at before and I was actually happy with is the control type. Yeah, so the control types aren't necessarily a bad thing for you to use the modern. So let me just read this here. Street Fighter 6 offers a new control mode to play without the need to remember difficult command inputs, allowing players to enjoy the flow of battle. Players who are delving into the world of Street Fighter for the first time, or those who haven't touched the fighting game in years, can jump right into the fray. Of course, the traditional control type of the series is still available for players who enjoy it. So the new one is called the Modern, and the traditional control type is the Classic. But right off the bat, if we take a look at this, allows you to perform special attacks with simple button combinations. Designed for players who want to fight without memorizing and practicing special move combinations first. So even from this explanation, we can tell that the idea is to get people to play the game at least and use this to get used to the game. When you get used to the game, then you can go ahead and use the more traditional method of playing the game. But as we can see here, if you actually hold R2, you can use some assisted combos by just mashing either the square, circle, or X button, and all your special buttons are mapped to triangle. So that means you can throw Hadoukens, you can use Tatsus, you can use Shoryukens, and you can use your donkey kick on Ryu, for example, as long as you're holding the directional button and the triangle button. This is going to be the simple method, or the modern method, to play Street Fighter. And yes, you can see the throw is on L2, the drive impact is on L1, and the drive parry is on R1. Instead of the throw being on basically square and X, and the drive parry being on triangle and circle. But here's the thing about this. The fact that you are having to use simplified controls takes away your full freedom of using the character in the first place. Kind of like auto combos in other certain games. If you choose the stylish approach, which is the usual basically equivalent of the basically is the equivalent of this modern control type in Street Fighter. In other games like Guilty Gear or even BlazBlue, it's called the stylish gameplay, where you have one button map to your specials. You have auto combos being done for you. They look a little complex. They're super simple, but they're never really like give you full control. So what I mean by that is, as you can see here, there's only light attack, medium attack, and heavy attack. There is no light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. It's just light attack, heavy attack, medium attack, and that's where it ends. So they lose the ability to choose the variations of their special moves, and they also lose the ability to do incredibly complex combos that may do more damage, give more Oki, and they also lose the advantage in being very situational. You can't do certain situational combos to give you advantages or disadvantages depending on, everything that happens in the middle of the match. You just have to go with whatever the game gives you if you're going to be using this modern system. Where this modern system will truly shine is executing your ultras. And as we can see here, there's actually 3 ultras. There's probably a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. To me, I think there's going to be 2 level 1s and there's going to be 1 level 3. Something that doesn't utilize all of the bar, but obviously the cinematic stuff is going to utilize definitely all of it. So the reason why I think that's much of a plus is because if you wanted to punish with, well, a special move, casual players would be doing that with the system in a very easy way. Also, it does help them be flashy without needing to do all the flashy movements or combo cancels. The thing or how I feel about this is, I like the fact that they've given you the option, and they've not necessarily taken away the advantage of being able to actually use the right thing, or I shouldn't say right thing, I should say the advantage of being able to use the traditional method. Because naturally, if you're putting more effort into executing a special move, it's a special move for a reason. So they're taking away some freedom from you as a character. They're limiting what you can do, your abilities as a character, in exchange for the ability to execute these special moves in one frame. So you have that option, or you can have the freedom of using the classic controls, which gives you complete freedom over anything you want to do with your character. The traditional 6-button layout that needs no introduction. The standard control type for the series Effective at high level play, where complete control over your character is a must. Players can freely customize their button layout, allowing for a wide range of fighting styles. So right off the bat, just having this option, you know, this doesn't deserve an explanation. Everybody who's played Street Fighter knows about this. And to people who are new to Street Fighter, is basically saying that now you don't have to focus on pressing one button, you have to actually press all of them if you want to do some nice stuff, if you want to do some cool things. Basically, it unlocks full method of freedom to you, the player, if you want to take the game seriously. But in case you don't want to take the game too seriously, there's always this version, or this modern control type over the classic type. So yeah, we can see that the basic, or the standard controls are here. One thing that was a concern to me was that Hadouken is down for a triangle, and Tatsumaki is down back circle. It makes me wonder if there's going to be really different versions for these moves, but I've decided to like not think too much about it. I think they took the medium options for both of these, but it doesn't mean that the light options or heavy options aren't available. So moving on, this is the trailer that we took a look at earlier, and we're just gonna watch it. And I'm gonna, as we're watching, I'm gonna explain some of the things that we're seeing, some of the things that were explained above, and get into the parry system that was talked about before as well.
Oh yeah, you know I'm ready. Trying to read each other here? At this range, many attacks can connect if you stick something out. The neutral game is very important. Hit them with a stopping block.
So that's a perfect example of the drive counter. I've forgotten what it was called literally just now. I've forgotten what it was called. Forgive me. But yeah, it absorbs one attack, and then you can pretty much do anything you want after it. As seen here, he uses his ultra immediately after that. By the way, I should say that the purpose of this video is to actually talk about the real-time commentary feature. But the thing is, we actually learn more about the game rather than the real-time commentary feature. But let's not take away from the fact that this is actually so beneficial to a new player, because they're actively talking about the situation that you're in and telling you what you should be doing and, you know, how things should be going, right? So they're talking about reads, they're talking about controlling footsies, they're talking about controlling space, they're talking about optimizing damage, stuff like that. And I think it's a pretty nice addition. You know that the modding community is definitely going to have some fun with this one, especially when they start releasing some custom packs for maybe, you know, they're going to start releasing packs for avoiding the puddle and stuff. That is an example of a perfect parry. It is so fast. It's literally one frame to the other. No space in between. Literally one frame to the other. Hold on. See that? One frame to the other. Yep. So, hitting these perfect parries are going to be hard, but they're definitely going to be rewarding, as we can see here.
Perfect parries! They got a feast on this chance! What now? Can it be this time to bust this out?
And this is an example of a level 3.
No doubt about it! They are done!
We're also going to see a little bit more here. There's another parry. Yep. And we see something interesting here, by the way. That's the first time we see it, but we're not going to talk about it yet. Here's another perfect parry into a Shoryuken. Another parry, another parry. And right there, so the attacks that absorb actual attacks, right? If you use them on somebody who is blocking and not parrying, they actually get opened up. As in, they actually get pushed back. They can't punish you after this. You see that? The way Ryu gets pushed back. Yeah. There it is. And oh, there it is. There it is. If you actually use it after someone uses theirs, you're the one who's gonna win every single time. But also the fact that Luke literally turns his entire body around just to smack Jamie in the face like that, so satisfying. It was just so satisfying. Ooh. A parry. And the Metsu Shoryuken looking beautiful as ever. Look at that. So yeah, we learned a few things about the gameplay itself from this point on. We learned that actually doing perfect counters actually really puts you at a really good advantage. My bad, excuse me. Puts you at a really good advantage. You can do a full combo punish, and that the drive moves, the ones that are meant to absorb attacks before actually landing on your opponent, they actually break your guard. So as you can see right here, Ryu's guard is broken. Not there, but it looks like that cinematic only usually happens when you actually absorb an attack or during a counter hit. But as you can see right here, it breaks Ryu's guard and pushes him back. So that is something that we learned from this video, rather than all the other gameplay trailers that came out. And the fact that the real-time commentary is a really beautiful addition for newer players. That is a good thing. That is a very good thing. The other things that they pretty much talk about is their innovation. This is as far as the relevant information goes. The battle hub and the world tour essentially is going to be like a kind of hub where you can go to. There's going to be, I think, because of this, right? I think that maybe during tournaments or maybe on a client-sided basis, you can spectate people's matches within this battle hub right here. But Street Fighter, it seems like Street Fighter 6 is really focused on you having your own redemption story, sort of, like as in the player himself or the player themselves make their own rivals, they fight their own players, and they climb to the top one way or the other. It's really like trying to incentivize that sort of social playground, be more social within the fighting game, be more open within the fighting game, play with as many people as you want, enjoy yourselves. So yeah, World Tour is an immersive single-player story mode. This is a completely new experience that defies genre labels. Carve out your own legend on the streets. Look for more news on the World Tour in the near future. So yeah, these are things that are definitely going to drop between now and next year. Up until the game's release, I suspect that we're going to have either 1 or 2 betas down the line. But for the most part, it is really good that Street Fighter has decided to do this. But that's as far as the relevant information goes. Everything else that is on this page are screenshots that you can take a look for yourself. I will be posting the link in the description, or you can literally just type in Google Street Fighter 6. It's going to link you to this page where you can take a look through everything for yourself. And yeah, that's pretty much it for a small deep dive into the into the gameplay analysis of Street Fighter, as far as the game mechanics go, as far as the game modes go, and as far as the how the story overall is going to be like, or what sort of direction they're going to go. It looks to me more than anything that they're trying to give Street Fighter in itself an identity. They're trying to make it focused in one particular setting, street fighting, actual street fighting, and they got all this graffiti, they got this neon, they got the hip-hop soundtracks. They're really trying to give Street Fighter an identity, and that is something that I am 100% for. I really do love the changes. I love the aesthetics. I love everything that comes packaged with this game so far. I have absolutely no qualms with it. If there's something that I didn't explain properly, you can feel free to advise anyone else in the comments. Maybe there's something I may have gotten wrong, or something that I predicted wrong, or something that I explained in a wrong way. You're very welcome to comment down below your thoughts and opinions, and I will very much listen to it, read it, and I would respond accordingly. I will be looking through all your comments, so don't be afraid to just, you know, leave some down below. Thank all of you for watching the video, and yeah, guys, Street Fighter 6 is coming next year. Can't wait to play with some of you. All right, take your time.